It's the internet, you're busy, let's do this. Welcome, Jeff Grubb, GamesBeat.com. This time I am reviewing the HyperX Cloud Alpha headset. This is HyperX's newish plug-in 3.5 millimeter, not wireless, sort of classic style headset for gamers. The thing that sets this one apart, it's $100 and it has dual chamber audio inside each ear cup here, where it uses 50 millimeter drivers in this dual chamber setup. That essentially, what they say is, it enables them to pump audio of different frequencies into these two different chambers, and the highs can exist in one spot and the lows can exist in another, and they don't interfere with one another, and you could turn it up really loud without a lot of interference. Now, I would say that this tends to work. I don't necessarily know if it's the dual chambers really causing that, or really acting as the reason why you get pretty clear audio across the entire audio spectrum when you use the Cloud Alphas. But the end result is the same either way. And we can kind of jump into that right now. What I like about the headset, it sounds great. It really does. I've used it a number of ways. I've used it plugged directly into my CPU's directly into the motherboard of my PC. I've used it plugged into the controller on a PlayStation 4, the DualShock 4, and the Xbox One controller with the 3.5 millimeter port, and into a Switch. And I'll say that through all of those, which are pretty passive power sources, not driving a lot of extra energy through these headphones, it sounds really good. You can turn it up, and you can get the most from those devices, without having to deal with a lot of weird, noises getting eaten up because they're getting in the way of one another. I was especially happy to find out that when I plugged this into, an amplifier, a headset amplifier specifically made for PC gaming and games, from Sound Blaster X, that this thing handled it like a champ, and it just blew me away. It sounds so good. A big reason for that is because the sound can get really big. It can get broad and enormous in a way that the bass can overwhelm you, and then you could still feel like the highs and the mids exist within that space without being like overcome by that bass. So the bass can establish this huge soundstage where you must exist in this stadium because there's all this sound around you that's just rumbling and really just vibrating your head and your brain. And when you experience that sensation with a lot of headsets, you expect the highs and the mids to get chewed up, like I mentioned. That happens all the time. I've noticed it time and again, and it's at a point where that kind of stuff almost doesn't bother me because I expect it. That said, this tends not to do that. I will say that I still get maybe a tiny bit of distortion on the very high ends when you get a piercing high noise, like in Steely Dan's "Hey 19," the song I used to test to test all audio equipment. It's got this really piercing guitar. I don't even know how they do it, but all throughout the song it's a wow like that. And when it does that sudden onset of a high end sound, with everything else going on, you could just hear the headset struggling to get a grip on that. It does almost instantly, almost immediately, but just that burst of high-end noise just doesn't sound right. And that's the only time I really noticed any problems with the headset in terms of its audio quality. Other things I like, it's really damn comfortable. It's not going anywhere, and it's very, very light in the way it holds in place. I've kind of come around to a point where I like tight headsets because they really don't move. But HyperX, I mean, they're just the champs at this. They really they test this stuff over and over and over and make sure they get it right. It's not squeezing my head, which is that's fine. I'll take that too, as long as when I look down, the headset doesn't fall out of place, especially when I have like one ear cup off, because I'm like trying to hear the world around me, trying to hear if my baby's crying or something. I'm looking down, and it's staying in place. It's not going anywhere. I shake a little bit, it's fine. Really like that. I really dig the style. Um, HyperX can always kind of knock stuff out of the park with its design choices. Um, and this one, it kind of looks like you could be leaning into an overt gamer style with this red accenting. Uh, but I think it looks really good. But I still like. I think the paint job is really nice. The coloring's really nice. The HyperX logo right here doesn't look too gaudy. And then you got this really bright red, and then the red stitching across the top, and again the HyperX logo. That actually looks pretty good with this faux leather up here. As for what I don't like, it's not much. Because it is a 3.5 millimeter only non-self-powered headset. You're not going to get mic monitoring built in, which it's a thing. If I'm going to be using a headset for gaming online, I prefer to have mic monitoring. Oh God, excuse me. It's late. Because I want to hear what I sound like to other people. It makes it easier for me to communicate. But it's not the end of the world because you know what, this microphone's pretty good for what it is. HyperX says, hey, we go ahead and we get approval from Discord and TeamSpeak to say, oh, this microphone is good for us. And typically I'm like, okay, everyone does that. But HyperX is pretty accurate in that this is a good microphone for communication. I'm using this microphone to record this review right now. If you want to hear what it sounds like compared to some other stuff, I got a SoundCloud link in the description below with a bunch of different microphones, a bunch of different headsets, and you can hear what it sounds like compared to a bunch of other stuff. As for being in the $100 range, I think this sounds pretty good, well above average. What else I don't like? What, that might be it. It's I guess I would say I don't love the on-board controls here, the inline controls. The circle here, I can't tell which way I'm turning to turn the volume or to turn it down because it's it comes out on both sides. So like I'm still learning what does what, and I kind of have to feel elsewhere on this little nubbin to be like, okay, so I'm on this side. So if I go up here now, I accidentally muted it. If I go up here now, am I going to am I going to be turning it up or turning it down? And sometimes you want to know for sure because you don't want to blow out your ears or whatever, or you're trying to hear something specific. It doesn't have play or pause, and it just has a mute here, which I just did, and you can see that it's right there. And that's which you can't accidentally hit that, which I like. Otherwise this thing doesn't really get in the way. It stays out of the way, which I think is nice. It doesn't like get caught on clothes ever, which is something that if you've had gaming headsets before, that can happen and it can be frustrating. But because it doesn't have play or pause, I'm not really taking this with me. Kind of feel like that is it's table stakes if you want to have a headset that's really versatile and that you're going to use for everything. Yes. So the microphone does come out, so you could still take it with you, and that's kind of how I would use it if I was going to use it with my Switch on the go. But it's just because I'm not going to be using it with my phone to listen to podcasts in between gaming, I'm going to take another headset with me, and I'm going to use that instead. But that's fine. This can just be your gaming headset, and it's great for that. It really is. I think that dual chamber thing, the selling point, it's hard to ever buy into this stuff. All I can judge is the results. I think the results are that they do really come through in terms of delivering that thing they promised, which is clear, non-distortion audio across multiple channels. Really distinct stuff that I appreciate. Okay, I think it's going to wrap it up. I think, quick correction, I think this actually is aluminum. It's a very thin aluminum. Like, it's kind of warm to the touch. Typically, you think it was plastic, but Nope, it's actually aluminum, so that's pretty cool. Okay, that's gonna do it. $100 for these. They are out now, shipping now. You can get them online, get them anywhere. They are the HyperX Cloud Alpha. I'm Jeff Grubb from GamesBeat.com. You can read more about the HyperX Cloud Alpha, other headsets, other stuff happening in games on GamesBeat.com. Find me there. In the meantime, hit that like button, subscribe, and then hit the bell so that when I upload other videos, it gets in your inbox, and YouTube will harass you on my behalf, which I appreciate that, because I don't like harassing people, but I do like people knowing that I want their attention. So it's a win-win for me. So yeah, do that thing. I'm waving goodbye. It's been 20 seconds. I need 20 seconds at the end, so you guys can see the other videos that are here that you can click on. It's probably been longer than 20 seconds now. I'm gonna end the video.